Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another live episode of That Crypto Show. My name is Kartik. I'm the head of trading education here at primexpert.com. I'm also a veteran trader, I would say, almost with 25 years of market experience. And today we are going to talk about and witness the release of the US inflation data coming in later today. Until then, we want to talk, obviously, a little bit about what is going on currently on the markets. Going to have a look at a couple of charts. I want to explain to you again how this inflation data release is probably going to influence the markets of the future. Kind of an interesting time, actually, at the moment here, I think, with a bit mixture of a summer haul. We don't see that many movements, especially in crypto at the moment. And yet still, everything that is going on at the moment is going to determine then from September onwards if we really are going to enter the super bull market that, well, I'm kind of expecting, as you know, if you've watched a couple of Academy videos lately. Of course, we are going to have our community trading event again. So what is that? As with the last two live streams, when we looked at news releases, I asked the Academy Telegram community what they think I should trade here live during the news release. So far, the Academy community has been correct 2 out of 2 times. So last time we managed to rake in about 300 plus US dollars in just 3 minutes. Let's see if we can keep that up. If you don't know what I'm talking about here, maybe click on the description of this video where you'll find links to our Telegram communities. The first thing leading to my personal trading insights, the second one leading to the Academy Telegram channel, where we always share votes, and you can of course cast your vote also there to determine what I'm going to trade here today. So if you haven't done so, high time to do so. Let's see who we have here with us today already. I can see quite a number of people already joined. Diego is here again. How you doing, man? Rades, Ferhat, Mirkes Rodriguez, Catch, Flower, Barham, also often here. Nice. As always, guys, you have, of course, the opportunity to ask your question here, and later after the release, I'm going to answer some of your questions. You should take a screenshot of your question. It doesn't matter if I answer it later or not, and then post it on our Discord channel. We always have sweepstakes there, and you stand the chance of winning 25 US dollars in trading bonus for your account. So that's some nice and extra money. We want to not waste so much time today talking up front. We need to get some stuff ready first. So I still have my trading account here ready from last time. You can see that I activated our current promo code here for the Academy community, which is this one here, where you can get up to 7,000 US dollars bonus on your deposit. So it's 7%. And what you need to do for that, it's quite easy. You go here from the main section to your margin trading account. In my case, I'm using US dollar Tether today for trading. You enter your promo code here, click on activate, and then as it did here for me, it will turn up here. Super Bowl is the promo code. So that's the one you want to enter here. I did so already during the last stream, and you can see I got 7%. And since I deposited 100K here, I got 7,000 US dollar in bonus. And that's always nice, you know, to have some extra margin available to trade. And talking about trading, let's see later on today what we want to trade. Yeah, this one we want. Yeah, here we go. So we'll still wait maybe 10 minutes for you guys to finish your voting process on Telegram. So if you haven't cast your vote on what I should trade, then it's high time to do so. And then the top 2 entries, I will, of course, then open positions again. Good. By the way, should our, like last time, our stream here freeze again, we had a bit of technical difficulties last time. Please drop me a message here online so I can react very quickly. And if If I see that, then I will, of course, start a new live stream immediately. So bear with me a little bit. But of course, I hope that it doesn't happen like last time. Was actually the first time we had technical hiccups like this. All right, before we get into the trading, I want to quickly update you on some charts. I want to update you on what to expect today from this event, why it's so important, why it's, as all inflation data releases have been actually in the past year, we can almost say, or at least past 10 months, why it's so going to be so important to what probably is going to happen later this year, when we might see finally this turnaround in interest rate decision making by the Fed. Short term at the moment here, if I look at Bitcoin, it's a bit of a boring market, and that's true. It doesn't really matter if I look at Bitcoin or here at Ethereum. I tend to look at Bitcoin when I analyze crypto charts, because usually you will have most of the other altcoins following what Bitcoin is doing. At least, that is true for the market phase we are in at the moment, which is a typical accumulation phase before normally a new bull market then really should kick off. And what we are seeing here is this, I call it really boring range, between 30,000 and 31,000 that we've been in here already now for what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So for 3 weeks, almost with not much happening, every time we try to break out here to the north over 31,000, the price sooner or later collapses. And again, reminds me a lot, honestly speaking, what we saw in 2020 or 21, I think it actually was, when Bitcoin managed to break out over the last all-time high at 20,000. It also took quite a while until really, the supply that is just there, supply tends to be at natural numbers, obviously, was like worked off the order book, so to say. But I'm for me, actually quite bullish to see something like this. So the thing is here, stay patient at the moment, and you don't want to be caught on the wrong side of a market here. Also, should we really see prices surging over 31,000? And who knows? Maybe this is exactly what we are going to see in about 22 minutes, right? S&P 500, kind of the same. The upward trend is more there. I don't see anything really to do here at the moment on the short side. Before we see here 4,580, talking about swing trades, of course, right now, nothing to do with news trading that we are going to do today. On the downside here with 4,300 points. So these for me are the two price ranges at the moment where I would consider building up a swing trading position. Again, euro dollar, the dollar going weaker here at the moment again. We just adjust this to automatic. Here we go. So we are seeing again that we return to this 50% retracement from the Fibonacci's, which is the retracement of this large phase here in 2022, 2021, where we saw the US dollar going strong. It's going to be interesting. I said it a number of times. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of a stronger US dollar until September. So that means euro dollar going down, but it not necessarily needs to happen. At the moment, the market still kind of behaves like it really wants to push upwards. So what are we going to expect today? We are looking at actually 2 inflation rates. There are 4 different types of inflation rates coming out. First of all, core inflation, MOM, means month over month. So the June in comparison to May, that would be not so interesting. What we want to look at here is the core inflation year over year, which is forecasted with 5% after 5.3%, because this is the inflation rate that the Fed is always looking at. And for their decision making, are we going to lower interest rates, or are we at least going to keep interest rates stable for the moment? For us, for our daily life, interesting, of course, at least, when you're living in the US, but in other areas of the world, it's kind of the same pattern at the moment, is this inflation rate year over year, which today, the expectation is quite a massive drop of 0.9% to 3.1% from 4% of the prior reading. And you might remember that reading already was Yeah, my mic is on. I thought I've been muted here all the time. The 4% last time was already lower than the expectation. So it's going to be interesting, 3.1%, if it's maybe going to hit this or not going to hit this. Maybe it's coming in better than expected, of course, meaning here lower than 3.1%. As always, for inflation readings, I like to look at a cool website here called trueflation.com, which always measures basically inflation in real time. Now, what they are showing here, those 2.51%, this is not something to expect for today. This would be like real time at the moment inflation. What we need to look at is what the readings they had here basically in June, where we started out. That was here June at, or let's say May at 2.85%. And then we ended June at, what was that, 2.29%. So that was a drop in June of about 0.5%. So it might actually be that the inflation reading today comes maybe in a little bit higher than expected. But we don't know. We don't have the glass ball. However, I think this website really is very, very good just to keep track what is the tendency in inflation at the moment. Because usually, and we had, the short period where inflation went up a little bit again in comparison to last year, which was March and April of this year. It gives you an indication like how are the markets going to behave within the next couple of days or weeks at least. If there's a big difference between what Trueflation says here and what the official reading, so to say, is expecting. Yeah, at the moment, food and beverages are getting, compared to last month, again, quite expensive, rose by 1.8%. So this is going to be interesting. I always wonder if you guys notice that in your daily life, because I've noticed that groceries, at least here in Germany where I'm living, tend to get a little bit, I don't want to say cheaper, but the price is going down a little bit again. How's that with you guys? Have you noticed something like this too? It's still, of course, higher than it was pre-corona, much higher. But like, for example, a liter milk was around €1.20 here, has now dropped to 95 cents again. So, I mean, that's quite significant, and this is also something we are going to sooner or later see, obviously, in the inflation rate too. Good, we have like 17 minutes left still. Why is the inflation reading so important? Because the central banks of the world, or most central banks of the world, and for sure the Federal Reserve Bank in the United States is one of those, they have their goal, the only goal and the only purpose actually is to keep price stability. And price stability is usually measured by the Federal Reserve Bank in terms of inflation rate. So the goal, the target of the Federal Reserve Bank is to keep inflation around 2%. And they surprisingly do not have that many tools to kind of tackle inflation. One of those tools are the interest rates. And we've seen, obviously, that interest rates have been hiked. So they raise the interest rates in 10 out of the last 11 readings. Let me quickly put on a chart for you here. This one we might need later, actually. And where do I have my inflation chart here? Inflation forecast is this one. No, it's not that one. Sorry, guys. Just give me 1 minute here to find the correct one. Peak inflation. Yeah, might be this one. So we saw inflation coming down, not necessarily because the Fed was raising interest rates. There's, of course, always like a delay in what the Fed is doing and how the market prices are going to react to this. But the pattern we are seeing clearly is that since inflation has been coming down, and since the first reading was lower than the not all-time high, the last high at 9.2% here, 9.1%, it looks at least like this now, that it was the bottom of the stock market. So, of course, now is the question, how long is the Fed going to still keep interest rates on a higher level, or are they going to raise interest rates more? And this highly depends, for example, on what currently the inflation is doing. So right now we have an interest rate that is actually high, an interest rate environment that is actually higher than inflation. Yeah, because we have interest rates at around 5%. We have inflation, if the reading today is true, at 3.1%. So one could say, like, okay, maybe it's not the time for the Fed anymore to further raise interest rates. By the looks of it, and the next reading is going to be on the 26th of July. So that is today in 2 weeks. Of course, we're going to do a live stream for that as well again, no doubt about this. 92.4% of market participants are expecting another interest rate hike. And this is in line with what the Fed has been saying. They've been saying, Jerome Powell has been saying, be prepared that we're going to raise interest rates 2 more times this year, to then around 5.5 to 5.75%. And what is interesting then, in my opinion, is what is coming after this. Interest rates. Here we go. This was actually the chart I was looking for earlier. Is like once we reach these plateaus, I call them, so where the interest rates stay stable, on average, you have like 9 months of stable interest rates, and then interest rates start falling again. So should we really see now in July and September that the Fed really raises interest rates 2 more times, 9 months plus from September would put us in June of the next year, which is also around the time or shortly after the next Bitcoin halving. Then we would have falling interest rates, Bitcoin halving, and that's the recipe for a super bull market. I talked about this also on my last video. If you haven't watched it, you really should do it. It's my go-to strategy at the moment. Right, okay. So, of course, especially with core inflation today, so that would be this number here, core inflation year over year, comes in lower than 5%. That would give an indication actually that maybe the Fed is only going to raise interest rates 1 more time, or maybe not at all. So later on tonight, tomorrow, probably this number will then update also. If the reading today is much better than expected, be prepared that the expectation for an interest rate rise in July and September will get lower. Would really put in quite an excitement, in my opinion. Good. We still have 12 minutes left. So I want to start building up the positions around 5 minutes prior to the release of the data. So you still have now 5 minutes left to cast your vote, and then I'll take a screenshot here of the results, and yeah, we'll see which trades we are going to place today, right? Well, a lot of people on the stream today, great. Maybe I'll answer like 1 or 2 questions already, and then we'll slowly start building up position. I'm just going to switch here to Bitcoin again, and maybe we go to a lower time frame here already. So later on we can see the moves of the market then better. Maybe let's go here to the to a 1 minute chart already. 1 minute. Let's work here with a 5 minute chart. Otherwise, we have so many fractals here, and the movements always look larger than they are. Same here with the S&P 500. A little bit of pressure here currently on the market. Let's see here. I'm just randomly going to pick here something. So we have a question here, for example, from TWAV. Pardon me, I don't know how to pronounce that. I want to pronounce it correctly. Can inflation rate move the market strongly? Can we see Bitcoin at 50,000 soon again? Yes, for sure, because it's such important economic data. Of course, if we get a reading today on an inflation that is much better or much worse than expected, so let's say the inflation, I'm just making something up from the top of my head now, comes in at 2.5% and core inflation at 4.5%. For sure, we are going to see very bullish movements when not only in cryptocurrencies, but also in stocks, because this is better than expected. On the other hand, inflation rate worse than expected, much worse than expected. So I'm talking here about, let's say, 3.8%, or maybe core inflation stayed at 5.3%. Then, of course, we would see the opposite move, very bearish, Bitcoin probably very quickly approaching 30,000 or lower again, S&P 500 falling under 4,400 again. For sure, if the reading is much, much better than expected, and if we really should see then the expectation for interest rate hikes end of July and on the 23rd, on the 20th of September 2023 being lower than they are at the moment, for sure Bitcoin then very, very quickly then approach 50K again. I mean, I've shown this chart also here a number of times, and you guys, if you've watched this, you know that I believe we have already entered a new bull market, but this phase prior to the halving is always a very volatile one. I mean, look at here prior to 2020, what happened? Of course, this super large red candle here was COVID, but we could very well here go up to something like 50K again, just to drop again, and then probably be somewhere around, let's say, 38 and 45 to 50,000, maybe even higher. I said here 58,000 US dollars by next year, end of April, when the halving comes. Everything is possible. So the strategy, long-term strategy, is at the moment, in my opinion, whenever you have some spare cash, buy some Bitcoin, because you never know, is it going down to 20 again, or, is that it? And it's only going upwards now. We are kind of used to the markets being in shock. The last bull run for sure was not as strong as everybody expected. So 3 more minutes until we build up our position. Let me sip a drink here. Mego with a question: how long will we stay in this horizontal movement of Bitcoin? Why is there a lot of positive news and the market remains the same and often goes down? Yeah, this is, like I said, very typically something you will see in markets that are preparing to break out, that it finds kind of equilibrium, I think is the word there, where the market cannot go upwards, because there's a lot of pressure around 31,000 US dollars with people wanting to sell. But on the other hand, at 30,000 lower, latest at 25,000, there's a lot of demand. And you'll have those sideways ranges until finally the breakout comes. It's a time that is kind of boring, It's like you need to be patient, but it's a good time to build a position long term, in my opinion, so you can profit from the breakout. Like I said, it's not out of the impossible that we still see 25 or 20,000. I have a hard time believing 50K, 15K, but everything is possible. So stay patient at the moment. Pick your trades wisely, so to say. All right, so let me quickly make a screenshot of the results and upload it here, that we know what to trade, so to say, today. Let me save this here. Just a second, I need to upload this here so we know what we are talking about today and what to trade. Here we go. So these are the official results. You guys say, again, long Bitcoin. This seems to the academic community is always very bullish on cryptocurrencies. I think that's nice. So long Bitcoin, and second most casted vote is short Bitcoin. It doesn't make sense, of course, to be long and short at the same time. So we move on to the next one, and that's a tie between long gold and short euro US dollar. So in this case, I would say we are going to build up 3 positions actually today: long Bitcoin, long gold, and short euro dollar. So as the time is clicking, let's do that. We'll start here with Bitcoin. Here we go. As you guys can see, I have regular trading activated. You can also have this one-click trading, for example. If I would click now here on the green button, my order would be executed immediately. So we want to, I'm using here, first of all, 5-minute charts and So I'm going to buy 1 Bitcoin here, market. Here we go. And then we want the S&P 500 again, which also was a long position, right? Sorry, a long gold and short euro dollar. Good that I looked again. So let's go with gold here first. I'm going to, with this one here, XAU versus US dollar. Here we go. And let's see where we're at the moment. We can maybe build up a position here of 5 contracts. So as you can see, I'm not building up like super duper huge positions, obviously. You never like bet your whole fortune on something like news trading because it's always a bit of a gamble. And then we have short euro US dollar, which is kind of interesting because it's a bit a hedge to the long position in Bitcoin. Normally you see the US dollar going stronger, which means euro US dollar going down when we have risk-off scenarios. So in this case, if the data comes in worse than expected, higher inflation than expected. So we are going to trade here 25, a position of 25,000. Here we go, since we have 3 positions today. And we have all that up. As I said, you see, I'm not using a lot of leverage. Actually, I'm not using any leverage at all here today. We still have here 99.8% margin still available. If the reading is different than what the expectation is, it's going to get very fast, very volatile. Of course, I'm hoping that we kind of get a surprise today, and the reading is different from what we expected, hopefully into, of course, our direction. So we see Bitcoin going up already, probably S&P 500 also going up. Euro dollar is, so to say, our hedge then. I'm just going to stay here first on the S&P 500 because this is probably where we are going to see the first reaction coming up. So 1 minute 30 to go. I hope you guys are all ready. I see the fire and hearts coming there. Yeah, let's see. Good. Later on then, of course, we're going to answer more questions, but let's see first now how the release is. About 1 minute to go. So last chance to take a sip of your coffee or water. Terribly hot here at the moment, guys. I'm like sweating bullets in my office, but I cannot turn on the aircon because then you wouldn't understand me anymore because it's always so loud. Only a couple of weeks per year here where we really have temperatures above 30 degrees, and for sure that's the case at the moment here. All right, 40 seconds, 45 seconds to go here. And then we see if we decided, if the community decided on the right positions again. Let's see also which one is going to be faster here. Normally, we always work with daily FX, but they tend to be a little bit slow. 20 seconds to go. I've never used here TradingView, the economic calendar. I wonder how fast it's going to update itself. So 10 seconds. Heartbeats are rising. We don't see at the moment much. And data should come out now. Nothing so far. What do we see here from the markets? We see a strong up move in the S&P 500. Same in Bitcoin. My God, almost at 31,000. So that means the reading must probably have been better than expected. Oh, that's also nice. Now they hide it from us. Okay. I cannot see anything here on daily FX. Interestingly enough, they are not. I mean, that's kind of nice, no? So come on. Anybody knows already what has been happening? Well, numbers must have been better than expected. Otherwise, we wouldn't see Bitcoin and the S&P 500 going up, up, up. Still nothing there. I wonder why. I mean, that's a bit stupid, no? That the economic calendar here of... here we go. So, we have core inflation at 4.8%, inflation 3%. So this is, especially the core inflation here, much, much better than expected. Let's see what our positions are doing. Bitcoin up, gold up. You can see here euro dollar, of course, down, because this was kind of the hedge. So if you're also trading this, you would close everything, you would end up with a profit. But let's see first how things are going. Again, we want to hold on to our positioning maybe around 3 minutes, because very often also this first reaction on the market is a reaction into the wrong direction, so to say. What I want to do here is I want to activate one-click trading now again. I want to close here our euro dollar short trade, because it doesn't make any sense. And I'm going to take profit now on the other two positions as well, because we want to trade the news. And oops, what happened now here? So we for sure made a profit, but let me quickly calculate now for you what the profit was. If you're still in the positions, of course, you can hold on longer to them. Last time would have made sense also to hold them longer. But yeah, it's safe to say again that the community was absolutely correct again this time also, and amazing, 3 out of 3 times already, you guys. So why is my... here we go. I think now you can see this is a little bit small to see on the screen. Let me see if I can zoom in here a little bit. So this is the result. We lost 83 US dollars on our euro dollar trade, our euro dollar short. So the buy order here is, of course, the closing price. We won $132 on our Bitcoin trade, and we won 51 US dollars on our gold trade. So you guys have decided once again very wisely. So in total, we made about 100 US dollars in about 2 minutes. Of course, this could have been larger if I would have used more leverage, but I didn't even use one-to-one leverage. But again, it shows, guys, why the Academy community is such a great community. Again, absolutely nailed it. What we saw here in terms of release is much better than expected, especially the core inflation, I have to say here, with 4.8%. This is going to be interesting now, how the Fed is going to react to this. Maybe after all, we're not going to see an interest rate hike anymore end of July. If that really happens, then yeah, the recipe for what I call a super bull market is already there at the moment. And like I said, this is what happens very often. You see here that in Bitcoin, we had this barrier, this resistance here at 31. We went almost all the way up, and then it reversed. This is what I meant. First reaction, usually, especially when it comes to cryptocurrencies and news releases, is the wrong direction. This is also the reason why I took the profit here so early on this on these trades. Of course, interesting now for me is also, did you guys trade? Did you make any profit? And if you did so, you want to share what happened with your account just now? Were you able to, so to say, surf a wave? Let me hear what happened there to you if you were trading this as well. So for sure, interesting now is going to be, is this number here, the expectation, going to change? The expectation for interest rate hikes end of July and here in September 2023. September 2023, we are expecting stable interest rates at the moment. You can see it's already falling, you know, just now was at 92%, now it's down to 89.9%. This is going to adjust a little bit more, and we can see the bounce back here again of Bitcoin. I'm really wonder if this is now what is going to maybe tonight drive us over 31,000 US dollars. If that happens, we are probably very quickly also going to 34 or 35,000 US dollars, in my opinion. And then the whole market will rearrange itself once more. All right, let's see here if we have more questions. This is a good one here. Adamson Ronaldo. Hi, Dirk. Is there a chance of another big economic problem? Maybe the trend towards cryptocurrencies will increase. There's always, of course, a potential chance for, investors and traders might want to call a black swan event. A black swan event is a negative event that is affecting financial markets, not only financial markets, the whole of the economy, that nobody is expecting. I think the last example of this obviously was Corona. Yeah, a lot of people had said over many, many years, many decades, it's just a matter of time until we get a pandemic again. And when it came, still everybody was surprised, especially with a lockdown and what it did to the economy. But we recovered from this. The financial markets did recover from this. So yes, this is something that could come. But I never would bet on it, because that is a black swan by definition is something you cannot expect. And I know there are a lot of so-called gurus out there who always say something like, oh, the next crash is just around the corner. Remember, like, when was it, like 2 months ago, when I did this video on Harry S. Dent, who said, like, the markets are going to see the crash of a lifetime in June. Well, what happened in June? Nothing happened in June. Yeah, we had new heights in the S&P 500. We had stronger cryptocurrencies and so on and so forth again. So when you plan like your long-term strategy, do not build it on like, so to say, that you expect like there's something exceptionally bad going to happen to the economy or whatever in the next couple of months. That doesn't make any sense. If you're unsure about this, you can always use options, for example, to hedge your trades. Let's see. We are going to do like maybe 3-4 more questions, and then we'll call it a day. Once again, successful. So this, of course, the winnings are going back into the Telegram or the Academy, the Prime Expertise community, in the forms of trading bonuses, in the forms of sweepstakes, and so on and so forth. This is not money I'm obviously going to keep for myself. Let's see. That's a good question here from Lima. Can cryptocurrencies hedge against current inflation? No. Cryptocurrencies are a classic risk-on asset class. Risk-on means investors buy cryptocurrencies when they are looking for more return on investment than they are getting with risk-free trades. Risk-free trades would be something like US Treasury bonds. So something like this here, for example. I'm switching here back to the daily just now. So at the moment, if you buy a US Treasury bond, which is deemed as 100% secure, that you get your money back from the US government and you give it for 10 years to the US government, you have a yearly yield, yearly return on investment of around 3.9%. Actually, interestingly, dropped here also from over 4% in the last days. And as an investor, you always have to make the decision then, am I satisfied with that, or do I want more? If I want more, usually the stock markets are the go-to asset classes, because the average return on the stock market is between 8 and 12% per year. Or cryptocurrencies. Obviously, cryptocurrencies can also offer a much, much higher yield than those 3.9%, but obviously also the risk is much higher. So when inflation, going back now to your question, when inflation comes down, it usually means that interest rates are going to get lower. That's why we are seeing now at the moment the interest rate, the yield for those treasury bonds falling, because inflation is lower than expected. That means the Fed is more likely to keep the interest rate stable or lower them again. So people are looking for alternatives, being cryptocurrencies or stocks at the moment. By design, of course, Bitcoin is actually a risk-off asset, but it's still going to take probably some time until most investors out there notice that. Good. One more question, guys. Remember, when you posted a question, make a screenshot of that, put it onto our Discord server to have your chance of winning $25. I'm just going to see here a couple of more questions, maybe from a different category. Just looking for something we haven't spoken about. Yeah, this one here. Salam, to you as well. I have a question about request for investment funds to enter cryptocurrencies and recognize that Bitcoin is an asset. Why are these requests not accepted? And if accepted, there are the sentence breaks off here. So yeah, this of course goes into the question, what does it take for investment funds, hedge funds, pension funds, large companies to put Bitcoin in their portfolios, to put cryptocurrencies on their balance sheet? For this, regulation is very, very important. And for example, this spot ETF that BlackRock and Fidelity have been filing for, but still is declined by the SEC, would be an important step into that direction. Because if you are, for example, the chief financial officer of a large company like Apple, or you run a hedge fund or pension fund, you cannot just say like, oh, I'm going to buy Bitcoin now. You have to adhere to certain regulation, certain frameworks of regulation, what you can do and what you're not allowed to do. And if we would have that regulation for institutional investors in the crypto sphere, that actually would be very, very positive. And honestly speaking, this is something that I expect to happen within the next 1 to 2 years. And then we are really going to see a lot of money probably flooding into the crypto sphere, because let's be honest, those institutional investors, hedge funds, especially the pension funds who manage trillions, billions and trillions of US dollars, of euros in every country of this earth, if they have the possibility to invest just fractions of their buying power, so to say, in cryptocurrencies, we are going to see a lot of new money entering the crypto sphere, especially in the more established cryptocurrencies, especially in Bitcoin and Ethereum, in my opinion. Good, guys. I think that's enough for today. I had a lot of fun again. Thanks a lot. Thanks to our community. We are now 3 out of 3. We had a great trading session again. I hope it was fun for you as well. Next week, a new live stream. So we're going to have new live streams every week now. And yeah, until then, stay safe out there. Yeah, remember to always use the stop loss. Don't do what I did just now. I didn't use the stop loss, as you might have noticed, but I was using not even 1-to-1 leverage, so that it's not so crucial in my opinion. And stay safe and happy investing.